the report that I've mentioned, the Employer Insights report, was published on Monday this week. It what employers around the world think about young professionals joining their ranks. And as a company, Kias is in touch with thousands and thousands of employers around the world, mainly for the sole purpose of collecting their opinions on universities which meet their expectations, their requirements in terms of graduate recruitment. Also, what probably worth mentioning, employer reputation, so the recognition of the university by employers, is one of the key elements of all the QS rankings. So we rely quite heavily on opinions of employers, as we believe they are one of the key stakeholders of all the education and career program processes. So in terms of recruiters, you can see that the priorities can be very, very different. And what I am personally quite pleased to see is that an indicator called best grades, which used to be very popular as recent as like 7 years ago, is now, you can see, almost like second from the bottom. The first and the most popular criteria for the employers while recruiting a new person is his or her professional experience. So this is, as you can see, is totally in line with what Rox and her team are trying to achieve, that experience, working experience, is a part of educational process. And we at Kia strongly believe in this, because your education is worth nothing if you can't apply it, right? And also from, not just from the practical point of view, but also from the emotional point of view, if you didn't have a chance to try your future profession, to try and apply what you've been taught during your internships, short-term projects, or apprenticeship, you wouldn't know whether you like this role or not, whether this is the career you want to dedicate your life to, or whether it's your parents' dream. I hope that we will have people from quite a few different regions joining today. And I myself am coming from Russia. So I'm also sort of what you call in today's term, a qualified immigrant who came to the UK 15 years ago and has built a career and a family here. So quite often, young people decide to go into the university course, not because they genuinely believe that this is their passion and this is going to be their job for life, but because of their parents and family pressure. So that's why I think if it's possible for schools to collaborate with universities and employers and give young people as early as, I don't know, at the age of maybe 13 and 14, to try different activities, to try different jobs, it will decrease the number of disappointed and dissatisfied young professionals quite tremendously. Unfortunately, we don't have this in many countries around the world. We don't really have much of it in the UK. So let's focus on those who have already entered the university, and let's see how they can shape up their profile, shape up their portfolio in such a way that will appeal to the employers of either their dreams, if you are confident enough that that's your dream job, or whether to any employer that you might want to approach for future work. Now, what's also is worth mentioning is when we talk to the employers and to the universities, and we're trying to figure out, you know, what's the overlap, what's the common language between those two very powerful groups who have impact on thousands and millions probably lives around the world. Everybody is talking about career outcomes. So we're not talking about, you know, touchy-feely stuff like, am I happy? It is important, but it's not the top indicator. We're talking about employability rate, So the proportion of graduates finding jobs within, usually it's about within 3 months after graduation. And then if we're talking about employment, what's the average the timeline, how soon students can find employment after graduating? Obviously, students or graduates of a strong university, or, and that's also quite important to remember, sometimes you can get a fantastic job grading from a particular course from not the strongest university overall, but who will be the strongest university in this particular subject area. That's why, again, looking back, when you're choosing an institution, it is quite important to look at this university's strength, not just overall, but in your particular field. And then, yes, student satisfaction score or satisfaction rate. This is when universities survey the students and ask how happy they are with their study outcomes, how happy they are with their their readiness for the job market. Now, one of the next elements, and very important, when we were talking to the employers and trying to asking them to identify the most important elements that help prepare students for recruitment process, and that's, okay, let me rephrase. These are the activities that employers believe universities should be engaged with while teaching the students. So you can see that, yes, CV and personal statements are the most important one, obviously, because you will be working with them, you will be using your CVs to apply for different roles. What's important here is that you not only have to be trained or educated how to prepare your CV or personal statement, but you also need to be trained how to adjust your CV based on a company you're approaching, based on the position you're applying to. And most of us today know a magic word, keywords, right? We know how to use them when you optimize, for example, your article or you're working on the website. The same rules apply to your CV. In many companies, not just in the UK, but around the world, HR teams are now using artificial intelligence to help them search through the database of candidates who have applied for this or that role. And this artificial intelligence, those algorithms, they do the preliminary work. They pick up the CVs that have the highest number of keywords matching the keywords for this role. And you might be as brilliant as you could be, you might have fantastic language capabilities and great extracurricular activities, but if your formal CV doesn't have a number of keywords required for this or that role, you might not simply pass the first barrier. So that's why it's quite important to know how you tweak, how you adapt your resume, your CV to any particular role that you're applying for. Well, mock interviews and other elements here are pretty obvious. One thing I'd probably like to highlight, and that's something that came out of my experience working with the business schools, is that mock interviews with employers are definitely important. Not everybody has access to employers, though, or resources to have, mock interviews with real HRs. Don't be shy. Get in touch with your alumni, your fellows from the same university who have graduated 3 or more years ago, and ask for 1 hour of his or her time, explain the situation and say, listen, I just need your feedback on how I might probably do at a mock interview, or not mock, at a real interview. And then you have a mock interview with this person where he or she acts as an employer. And then you together discuss, like you spend half an hour probably in this role play going for the interview, and then the next half an hour going for this and discussing how you could do better or what the employer will be expecting from you. Obviously, these are not HR professionals, but those are people who have already been through the process and who might give you a very valuable insights into your future profession, into your future interviews, and it will be generally very helpful. Now, one thing I'd like to ask you guys, and maybe a little bit later, if you could just let me know which universities you're coming from and whether your institutions had a career center that would undertake, if, well, ideally all, but I'll be happy with just like at least 2 or 3 out of those. So whether you had your CV writing trainings, whether you had interview trainings and other activities. Now I'm trying to stay cautious of time so that we also have enough time for questions and answers. So this is a rather important element I wanted to share with you. So when we ask employers which skills are important for you when hiring a new candidate, 5, well, less so for 5, but 10 years ago, for example, things like data skills, problem solving, so like hardcore skills were coming on top. Now, by default, it is expected of you, but you can see that such skills as communication, teamwork, flexibility, interpersonal abilities, and probably I think interpersonal abilities sit somewhere between communication and teamwork, are becoming more and more important. So it's emotional intellect, and it's your everything about soft skills. What it means to you, for you, is that when you're working on your CV, you have to also bear in mind that it's not just the hardcore tech or keywords that are important for this role, but you also have to show your personality. I will share the link to this report with all of you, so you'll be able to download and read it when you have time. But these are the key words that I would strongly advise reviewing, trying to reflect on yourself and see what you can, not just what you feel is that you have, but also what other people think, and then can say, oh yes, Joe really has a fantastic interpersonal skills, or she's got amazing creativity which helped us resolve XYZ issues. Okay, now when we look at the satisfaction scores, so it's a very interesting exercise called when you do gap analysis. So you ask employers what are their expectations in terms of importance of the skills, and then we ask them about how satisfied you are with those skills that you've identified as important when we look at the graduate employees, young employees that you've hired. And you can see that teamwork and technical skills come highest. However, when it comes down to communication, we remember, yes, it was coming up really high at the previous chart. Unfortunately, it's not within top 3 and not even within top 5 satisfaction elements. So your task is to make sure that the key skills which are important for this future employer of yours are reflected reasonably on your resume and CV and are highlighted during your interview. All right. So, well, I don't want to go through all, as I said, you will have access to this material and review. So these are the some comparative analysis of employers or recruiters responses from different regions. So we have US in yellow, UK in blue, and China in red. And these are the recruiters' priorities. You can see that professional experience is by far the most important priority for employers from all 3 countries. However, it is the UK that puts the most weight on professional experience. So work experience, real life experience is truly crucial. And then when we move further to the right, target disciplines, so your educational background, whether it's coincides, whether it matches the job you're applying for, is also important. Now, I personally would say that, yes, it is 51% here, but take it with a pinch of salt, because depending on the sector we're talking about, it will vary quite drastically. Say, for example, if we're talking about tech companies such as Google or Facebook, or even Coursera, most of you would probably know that they have already announced officially they're not looking at your educational background. They don't really care whether you have a degree or not, but they do care about your experience, about your real skills, and about your real achievements. Whilst in other sectors, such as say healthcare and legal industry, and finance can also be quite tricky. They are actually indeed looking at your degree. So that's why it's so important that you try as many options as possible early on during your first or second year at the university, so that when you choose your job going forward, you're 100% sure that that's the job which you want to dedicate your life to. Because also it's easier to switch from one course to another, from one degree to another early on your educational years. I think we'll probably leave it on this survey on this one. Yeah, so this is again the same questions we're reviewing: what's important, what universities should help students with, but answers also spread over country. So you can see China, for example, strongly believes that universities should take care of students' CVs and personal statements. 74%, that's probably one of the highest answers that we've had in this issue, in this edition. Now, this is an interesting matrix. Most important skills and least satisfied. So this shows you the gaps, right? So remember, we were talking about how important communication is, and employers put it on top of their charts everywhere around the world. However, you can see that for many of them, it's not the one where they are really satisfied with. So communication is something you guys have definitely to work on. Graded business school, I think this is probably not so relevant. What's interesting here are business masters. So if any of you have studied masters in management or masters in finance, you have better chances to find a formal job moving forward, or at least it's an easier process. Right, now let's stop over here and let's switch to the rankings, if I may. So as I've mentioned at the introductory beginning, Top Universities is the platform that QS has been running, and it's a pretty solid one. We had over 60 million in traffic last year. That's pretty good, believe me. And we, among many things, we also have the rankings that we publish. And one of them is graded employability ranking. So it's literally a ranking of institutions, of universities with the best career outcomes. And if we look at the UK universities, these are the ones that will give you the best career boost, the best career outcomes based on number of Fortune 500 people who have graduated from those universities, based on number of employers who come and are present on campus of those universities, and also based on the R&D activities. Now, if you want to go a bit deeper into different indicators, I would strongly advise to review the indicators first. So graded employment rate, partnerships with employers, etc., etc. But also you can go to our website called iuqs.com and see how each of the indicators is explained here, so that, for example, partnerships with employers reflect how active and how engaged any university is with the employer's partners. And you can sort this ranking of universities by partnership with employers, and I'll tell you that even though University of Surrey is not the most highly ranked UK university when it comes down to general graded employability ranking, however, they are the institution with the best record for partnerships with employers. And the same here. Say, for example, employer reputation means the sheer volume of employer experts who named this particular university, in our case, University of Cambridge and University of Oxford, as the best institutions to recruit from.